Beautiful day. I am the Oracle Empress, and it is presently Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. We are broadcasting live from the Empress Network at empressblack.com. And according to our astroscope today, our moon phase is waxing crescent. It's 19% illuminated and in the sign of Aries. In regards to this current phase's emotional influences, you may feel a quiet optimism as if a new idea is just beginning to take shape. There might also be subtle nervousness about stepping into the unknown, but this is balanced by a sense of curiosity. Support your manifestations by writing down one small intention or goal that feels meaningful. Keep the acts simple, perhaps a 5-minute journal entry or a brief affirmation so the seed can grow without overwhelming pressure. This energy is best for starting a new project or creative endeavor, setting intentions for personal growth, and reflecting on what you truly value. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. Yes, honey. I feel like I'm a little bit behind today, but it's all good. Yeah, had the schedule for 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I woke up this morning, the neighbors, they are like contractors or something like that. So it's like some heavy machinery that kind of abruptly woke me up. I was like, what was that? They like have earthquakes and stuff around here. So I was like, hold up. So I jumped up and then I was just started thinking, my mind just started going, honey. It was like, I think I'm kind of tapped out here. Like it's time for me to relocate, to move. And I was like, do I want to share that on this video or whatever when I go live and talk about it? So I took my time this morning to process my thoughts and, the things that were circulating through my mind, So yeah, I'm feeling like it's time to move. You know? Anybody get like that, feel like that sometimes? Like you just feel like you've outgrown a place, like it's just not doing it for you the way that you need it to anymore. And it's like I'm ready for, new opportunities, fresh faces, ready to grow, expand. And you feel like, where you're at presently is just like not providing those opportunities for you like you need them. That's me today. So enough about me. I trust, hope, and pray that wherever you are in the world, that you are well, mind, body, and spirit. That is so important for all of us. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get right into this energy forecast on this beautiful transformational Tuesday. And we are starting out with our chakra alignment message. If you have not yet done so, I encourage you to visit, pardon me, the Empress Beauty Boutique at marissablack.com, our sister site that is built into empressblack.com. But yes, if you have any questions or need any assistance with finding any particular products or, maybe want to bundle some products together and see what kind of savings you could potentially get, I have a consultation for that as well. But we have our yoga mat and it is officially spring and we're about to be getting our Pilates, yoga, you know, outdoor, stretching and stuff like that. If depending on where you stay or if you're near some water, it's phenomenal. Okay, I'm looking forward to once this pollen die down some, going to the river, going to the lake. You know, the perfect time of day when the sun is doing what it's doing in the sky, and it's just like the perfect time to regroup and stretch, get aligned. Okay, in nature with our yoga mats. All right. or when you go to the gym and you don't want to use the mats that they have available there, it's good to take there as well. But we have the I Am Aligned yoga mat that I designed. When you shop, beautiful looks always created kindly. Okay. Yeah, I have this Anubis meditation playing in the background because I was needing to holler at Anubis, for some extra protection. It's been weird out here these days. All right, the cards ain't talking to us like that today. Okay, here we go. Number 28, visualization. Third eye popping. Okay. Pineal gland activated. We most definitely have been seeing a theme of purple, indigo, lavender, all the beautiful purples. And during March, Pisces season, it makes sense because that's what that energy is all about, the spiritual awakening, you know, um, psychic development, just the more spiritual side of things, when it comes to imagination and seeing things that you wouldn't normally see, type of stuff. So we have visualization here. And we know that our theme also is journaling, what we're seeing in our meditations, because it's, supposed to all make sense. It's all supposed to come together here very soon. The more that you do it, I know it has for me. I know it has for me. I've been getting ideas and I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this, but let me just jot it down. And then I'll be like, oh, this goes with that, and that goes with this. And okay, it's all making sense now. Creativity for sure is popping. We got number 14, our inner strength. This is our solar plexus chakra energy. Okay. So we most definitely had a theme also in this month about self-esteem, self-confidence, you know, um, just that solar plexus energy, getting everything moving and flowing the way that it's supposed to, whether it's, you know, through different yoga exercises or core exercises, um, as well as what we eat. So things that are good for your digestion, your lemon, mango, pineapples, all that fun stuff. So, yes, in 2814, 105. These are just numbers that I'm seeing that if you want to look up the angel numbers to get meanings that might be relevant for you, if these are also numbers that you could be seeing. I'm getting 2814 could be an address, like an address somewhere. Someone is feeling like they're being cracked open, whether that be mentally, emotionally, or both. All right, we have 26 here with dreams. Some more of that, third eye, intuition, type of energy. I'm getting a message here that, it's necessary and needed to get, someone's needing to get good quality rest for the sake of being able to regain their strength, their vitality, but also to be able to get certain messages, that the divine may be trying to, you know, communicate to you, that you're too busy during the day being strong and getting stuff done and, you know, being consumed and distracted. So this could also be you deciding to wake up a little bit earlier in the morning, maybe go to bed earlier and wake up earlier so that you're able to sit with God, whether that's in prayer, meditation, or both. Also, potentially with doing some sort of like journaling work or organizing and planning your day. Everybody's different, as far as work and everything. So, you know, early in the morning may not work for everyone. It could be you need to do this type of work at night. I understand some people work like the night shift or something like that. So whenever it makes sense for you and your schedule, setting aside, I would say anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, as long as you need and can afford to give yourself, um, to just take time to process, you know, your thoughts, your visions, your dreams, your ideas. We have soul healing here with number 35. That's another eight. Okay. 2635. That could be, there's a pattern here. Okay. We got indigo, yellow, indigo, yellow. There's some sort of mirroring here. So this could be masculine and feminine energy that are mirroring one another presently. I'm getting that this could potentially be the masculine energy and this could potentially be the feminine energy. But of course, when we're looking at mirroring, it could be whichever energy is presently being embodied. But because of how the colors came out and in the order that they came out, I'm definitely getting, um, I'm just going to say divine masculine, divine feminine. So if we're looking at it like that, this is how our reading is starting out. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. We have number 24, listening. So we talked about this last week also, as far as, you know, blue represents the throat chakra, communication. At that time, Mercury was still in retrograde, but preparing to go direct. So now that all of the listening that we've done, the new information that we've obtained, during our Mercury retrograde phase of not taking action or doing too much, just taking time to kind of pause, reflect, reconsider, revisit, taking care of the work that need to be taken care of to the best of our ability, um, without taking any like real actions. We got another right underneath that. We have truth. Okay, that fire and water balance there, the consistency with the colors. Okay, this is definitely divine masculine, divine feminine with 12 with relationships, the sacral chakra. Okay, so there could be some sort of with Mercury, going direct here. There's some motivation to make some moves, to potentially reconciliate, like some reconciliation energy I'm hearing. Um, with inner strength and soul healing, someone has, with the time they've taken alone, they've really done some listening to their higher self. Um, like I said, via prayer, meditation, and just listening to the right people that are connected to them, who are going to provide them with, good guidance, good insight to support them, in their decision making and so forth. Someone has done some investigating. I'm hearing some research, maybe on a person or like a relationship or a situation, maybe an opportunity, maybe a place or places, to see, if what is being offered, or what, those places offer, if it's for them or not. I'm getting that. That's for whoever that's for. Sit that right there. But there's definitely some balance being gained, restored, some communication, truthful, honest, direct, healing, loving, forward moving, progressive, enlightening, empowering energy, communication taking place. That's what we're getting here. All right, let's see what our soul's journey lessons are talking about. It's a little piece of fur from my blanket. I love the synchronicity here, like with the colors. It's always, it still amazes me when it happens like this. It's a whole lot of light and healing energy for sure. Um, I'm getting someone maybe experimenting with hair color. Um, the soul healing card, she has like a blue or purple hair. I did that a few years back, when I noticed that my uh like psychic abilities were kind of evolving, and I knew that purple, like I kept an amethyst crystal with me, you know um I would keep it in my bra, and then when I would sleep I would keep it by my like bed nightstand or whatever. Don't judge me. But I know that it's good for, that type of stuff, and it helped. But I also made myself like a purple wig at that time. Um, with the hair extensions that I was selling, that was my first time taking blonde bundles and coloring them like a color or whatever, and it came out beautifully. Like I had that wig. It's probably I still got it somewhere. Just need to be rehabilitated because I used to wear it often, and I styled it and restyled it and colored it a lot, like to freshen up the color and stuff when it started fading from washing it so much. I think I might have even cut it down because it was long, like 22 inches or something like that. But yeah, that somebody might be experimenting with hair color or something like that. And if so, from my professional advice, in that arena of things, I recommend doing that stuff with extensions instead of your natural hair. But who am I? People do whatever they want. But with my clients, I definitely recommend them to, you know, have fun with hair color and hairstyles, but your process in which you do it, make sure that it's safe and not doing long-term damage to your hair, unless you don't care and you're gonna cut your hair off anyway. All right, so we have adversity. I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. Okay, adversity. So there's definitely been some obstacles and challenges that have needed to be overcome between these energies that we're looking at. I'm starting to feel like this could be like a twin flame or higher level soulmate connection. And, with those, there's always a great deal of mirroring taking place, where, sometimes divine masculine is embodying or embracing, his feminine energy, and vice versa. Divine feminine is sometimes embodying or embracing her masculine energy. And when that happens, it's typically for the work that they need to do, the inner work. So, for example, when divine masculine is more in his feminine nature or feminine energy, it's for the purpose of doing the healing and taking time to just slow down and, get all the information that they need and like go within, being more reserved, you know. And then for divine feminine, the opposite, when it's time to be more assertive, more practical, more analytical, just progressive and making moves and stuff like that, then that's more masculine energy. So we both have, you know, the opposite energy within us, masculine and feminine is within all of us. But sometimes in certain seasons and so forth, we have to embody different, take on different energy to get certain different things done. All right. So, courage, our affirmation is I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. And it's like a theme every time, inner strength comes out in one deck, in our chakra alignment deck, we always get courage to follow it up. And they both have, you know, inner strength in there. Okay. So, what that's telling me is that it takes courage to be strong, you know. To bow out, and give up, sometimes that's easy to do, but to not give up on yourself and, your dreams, your visions, your goals, just keep on pushing. I'm hearing keep on pushing. Who that? Bun B. That was my song. Anyway, it's on that iPod back there. Matter of fact, probably gonna listen to that later now that I heard that in my head. But keep on pushing. That takes strength. That takes courage. you know. Giving up is hard too. Because it weighs on your confidence. Your self esteem. Um, it has its effects, but it's like sometimes they be like choose your hard, choose your difficult, both options may be challenging and difficult, to have to deal with or go through, but one is going to be harder than the other, especially if we're looking at the outcomes and the benefits, that come from doing the work. You know, it can be hard to keep going. It can be hard to give up, but if you keep going and you accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish, then it's all worth it in the long run. All right, soul's journey lessons for this present energy. Soul's journey lessons for this present energy. What affirmations do we need? For divine masculine and divine feminine that are presently doing the inner work, the soul work. Okay, look at that. That's why I haven't seen this card in this deck for a while, and I love that so much. We have abundance. I am a limitless being and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. I'm going to say that again for the ones in the back. I am a limitless being and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. Okay. I talked about that a little bit in the wrapping up of our series, Am I Living to Die or Dying to Live? Where, where God is your source came out um, as a reminder from our angels of abundance. And, I was saying how basically when it comes to what God has for me, that's all I want. When it comes to careers, opportunities, relationships, whether it be platonic or, romantic, intimate, relationships. I don't want nobody else's stuff. I just want what God got for me, So when it comes to trying to manifest things, I'm that way I'm like that. And I'm saying that because, the same colors here, abundance with relationships here. You know, some people be wanting other people's lives and other people's relationships and other people's, positions and jobs and all that craziness. And I'm just like, that's crazy to me. Like, that's crazy to me. And I guess I'm like talking about this because I'm like seeing that real time in real life. And I'm just like, I don't get that. And I'm glad I don't like resonate with that type of energy, behavior, mindset, and stuff like that. Like, ew. If it ain't for me, I don't want it because I don't like stress. Stress ages you. You have a bad attitude. You're just like not productive, and life ain't, making sense the way that it's supposed to when you're trying to maintain and manage and, manipulate situations to be how you want them to be, versus how they should be naturally. We got relationships out here twice, okay? So this is definitely, union energy that we are looking at. And with union energy, it's bigger than just a man and a woman coming together in matrimony and harmony in union and marriage and a higher level commitment. It's also the relationships connected to them that we look at. So if we're talking about twin flames, which this mirroring with these colors here is definitely giving up, twin flames. But then we have here, similarity in colors here with adversity. This is telling me that, you know, the truth of this connection has been slowly but surely, revealed to outsiders that aren't in the connection, because a foundation had to be established between the main two parties, which is the divine counterparts, okay, twin flame, high level soulmate, whatever, twins for sure. But making sure that the people around you that are connected to you, whether it be family, friends, colleagues, just associates, business, in whatever networks or whatever you're part of, making sure that everybody's not going to be on the same page, but doing the best that you can to make sure people are, as close to being at least in the same book, to understand like this is the direction that I'm moving in. This is who I'm doing it with. If you don't like it, that's okay. That's your personal business. But this is what it is. Okay. So people gaining the confidence, to be able to communicate that, respectfully and responsibly to their loved ones. Because, what we're finding now are that, you know, people have different life experiences, especially with twin flames. There's always something something different, with adversity that needs to be overcome. So it could be things like, different religions, different nationalities or races, different backgrounds, different. That's what people say. I don't know how true that part is, but there's definitely some difference of some sort. So I'm gonna stick with like relationships because with the truth here, fire and water, those are complete opposite. I was watching the news briefly yesterday, and I seen how Hawaii, had some $1 billion worth of flooding here recently, and they were talking about how not too long ago, from volcano activity, that there was, fire damage like just a couple years ago. So the people who just moved into their new homes and rebuilt and stuff, now they're having to deal with, that. So, the purification of fire, water, that just came to mind. But back to what I was saying, opposites. Okay, we're dealing with, opposites attracting in some cases. And, when people are connected to you, your relationships, sometimes people will want you to, stick with what, you know, people that are like them so they could be comfortable. So let's say if your whole family is, Baptist, Catholic, uh, what's the other, Jewish or whatever, um, Islamic, Christian, and you know, that's what we do in this family. That's what we are. That's the set we repping. You know, the other family members may not like it if someone decides that they want to be in a relationship or commitment with someone from the opposite side of the tracks. Okay, that can also be when we look at not hierarchy. What's that? Class. So somebody might fall in love with somebody that might not be in the same tax bracket or class as them type of stuff. And the friends and the network and the family and stuff may pass judgment, but like, no, you deserve better than that. You can do better than that. Type like that type of stuff. So being the person in that situation or the people in that situation, The Notebook comes to mind, that movie, as an example of what I'm describing. You have to put people in their place and let them know, like, I appreciate you potentially having my best interests at heart and wanting to see, me okay, whether that's happy or not, I don't know, with you even, coming at me like this, because you gotta keep it real with folks, in these type of situations. I don't know if you really want my best interest at heart, if you just want me to be with somebody that I don't love for superficial reasons versus be with who I love and mind your business type of stuff. So, yeah, making sure that we let people know what it is and what it ain't. The affirmation is I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. Okay. So, with that, that's also if you have dreams, goals, ambitions, and things that you want to do, sometimes the people that you've been around, forever, whether that be, the job and the company or the colleagues or, the family, the friend circle, you know, they were good for that season, that decade, couple decades, however that goes, your classmates, whatever. But you have a desire to continue evolving and expanding past what they got going on. No offense to nobody. Some of us are a little bit more, ambitious and determined and want more from life than others. And there's no shade with that. Ain't nothing wrong with simple living, clocking in and clocking out 9 to 5, picking up the kids, from school, daycare, soccer mom and sports and stuff. If that's what you about and that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But then if you're somebody who has a desire to buy and own land in different continents and have the freedom and flexibility to travel the world and, you know, have as much freedom as you desire, whether that be solo, dolo, or with your divine counterpart, then that's your business. And you shouldn't be, you know, judged and criticized and, you know, um, all that for wanting what you want. You should be respected, by the people connected to you, and that's that. Like, for example, I had a real life situation like that just came to mind. One of my good homegirls, like that's my dog. Um, that's crazy. Envy came out with Soul Healing. Um, Years ago, she made a recommendation that, we talked about how I wanted to travel. I was even thinking about like backpacking type of situation. And from her perspective, she lives a very comfortable, stable life, beautiful family, big family too. Um, that I should buy a house and, have a stable house first before doing that type of stuff. And for me, living it on my own since, 17, and then eventually, like decades so later, having to come back home because of bad relationship breakups type of thing and regroup and, type of stuff. Maybe a little bit of TMI, but life is real. For the sake of the story, I'm sharing it. Um, but before that, I know what it was like to maintain it all, bills, expenses. And I know that if I have a desire to travel the world and potentially go somewhere and love it and want to stay there, for more than a week vacation, potentially like, oh, I like it here. I want to stay here for a month and 60 days and really get to um know the place that I'm visiting and the culture and study and not just looking at like a week or two vacation and doing that and having a whole house or, whatever here in the United States, or if I'm doing talking about international, like that's doesn't make sense to me. Um, so although I felt like she meant well, she's a friend or whatever, and just thinking like, you know, you need to be stable. Most people's idea of what stability is isn't necessarily what I see for myself or have seen for myself. And, having, a bunch of kids or getting married and all that type of stuff before I was ready, um, didn't make sense for me in my mind. So with that, another example is in business. I remember talking to a different friend, who I also believe, had my best interests at heart. But sometimes people have different life experiences. They come from different, family structures and than I did. They're not going to necessarily share the same insight and mindset, that God gave me, you know, type of thing. So I was talking about incorporating my business and, my brand and stuff. This was probably like 7, 8 years ago. And at the time, my hair extension business was, bringing in a decent income coupled with, the services that I was still providing as a hairstylist. And I did a little bit of traveling, back and forth. At that time, it was like from the Delaware, area and Atlanta, Georgia, back and forth. But, I was, sharing what was up at that time and what I was looking to do to expand and grow my business. And I let this friend talk me out of it, you know, as far as like, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. And respectfully, I love him, it's all good because I made the ultimate decision. But this is a friend that also I gave a whole business concept and idea to because and it's a good one too, a great one. I just didn't have the time to do much with it. And I'm just like, well, you want it and you can do more than I can with it. Go ahead and do it. So my point is, when it comes to your relationships and stuff like that, and self-awareness. It's important for you to know who you are, what you have a desire to do and achieve in life, and be able to respectfully articulate to your friends and loved ones, like, look, I see your perspective. I appreciate you, looking out and having my best interests at heart. But, hold those thoughts and ideas, because I don't need you deterring me if you're not all the way there to say, okay, thank you, but no thank you. you know, but with the input and the suggestions, we gotta learn how to do that, to protect our visions, okay, that God gave us for sure. Damn, that took a long time to get that out. That was for somebody. Envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. So, with this being next to soul healing, and I mean, next to relationships and under soul healing, I'm getting the message that yes, there can be some people in your life, that are connected to you some way, somehow. Friends, people that show up as friends and family, even that could be carrying like a jealousy or envy, spirit where they want to see you do good, just not better than them, type of thing. And when you come to those realizations, it can be hurtful, disappointing, disheartening, and taking time to heal and forgive, for that. And again, with the synchronicity with the colors here, you know, taking the time to forgive, them, forgive yourself if you allow, their projections, their limitations, to block or stop you or slow you up or hold you back or whatever. Do the forgiving work, externally and internally, so that you're able to heal and learn from the experience and become more confident, in how you progress and move forward. You're not that you can, listen to people and let people, share, that people that you care about, let them share whatever it is that they need to share. But when you need to respectfully and responsibly, check somebody and put them in their place, depending on how they communicate and, you know, deliver whatever their recommendations and suggestions are. Sometimes you got to do it a little bit more passionately and aggressively, and stern, just to make sure that you ain't got to keep having the same conversation over and over. And then in some cases, you could do it with, as much love, compassion, and empathy as they are coming to you with it, because, they're genuinely concerned and want to see you okay and stable and that type of stuff. Okay. So that's what I'm getting here. All right. Soul's journey lesson for listening. All right. We have surrender here. With surrender, I can release my need to control. Okay. And acceptance again on the bottom of the deck. We had this on the bottom of the deck for like a lot here recently, 2 to 3 times within the last week. Okay. I am learning to accept the things that I cannot change. Okay. So that includes accepting, people in our lives for, where they are in their journeys, and, loving them, through it all. We got happiness here with the dolphins too. Okay, so somebody is definitely transforming on an energetic level, as far as um, the way that they communicate, the way that they show up, um, the way that they think and operate. You know, I'm definitely getting some mental and emotional transformative healing energy. And that's beautiful. We need that, especially if, we have a desire to, in any way, shape, or form, improve our lives and our quality of life. Okay. All right. I wasn't trying to go in for a whole hour today, because I'm like, I've definitely been doing these hour readings here lately, hour, 2 hour, 3 hour readings. I got other stuff I need to get done today too. I need to give my hair business some attention, start some new marketing and promoting for that to get some new clients. And also, we got Seven Sisters with Creativity, number 12. And that's the relationships here too. Number 12 is the relationships. We got two 12s here. So as I stated, those two stories that I just shared, we started talking about twin flame, but then them sister relationships or those soulmates, because a lot of times we hear soulmates, and if you're not familiar with, the types of relationships, people automatically equate soulmates to a lover or a romantic relationship when they can be strictly platonic with the opposite sex, but they can also be, family and friends, um, your souls have done this before, potentially in another lifetime, So there's something within, the both of you that brought you back together, you know, in this lifetime, if that makes sense. So with soulmates, okay, making sure that your sisterhood, your brotherhood, you know, is everybody is as much on the same page, at least in the same book as possible, is what I'm getting here. Because there are opportunities for us to do some amazing things in the realm of, creating, producing, um, building. I'm really picking up, Egypt energy right now, and just think about how they don't want us to know. When I say they, I'm talking about them folks. They don't want us to know where we really come from, how high level we truly are at the soul and core of our being, and why they need to keep us suppressed, so much when it comes to like the poison and toxins in the water supply, like your fluorides and stuff like that, that calcifies, your third eye, your pineal gland, so that you can't have the dreams that you need to have, to get the visions directly from source to, make a difference in your life and live on purpose, do what you're here to do. You in the matrix instead doing whatever the idiot box or, the programming is telling you that you need to do, type of stuff. And being disconnected from your abundance, struggling when you ain't got no business doing that, because you come from greatness, you come from real power, legitimate power, you are abundant on a DNA level type of stuff, you know. So I said the fluoride in the water, the chemicals in the processed food, the what's them things called in the sky? The chemical trails, chemtrails or whatever, that's all in the air getting, we breathe it in, and then it's in our water supply, so the air and the water is, not doing what it's supposed to do for us, you know, all the above. And then with the entertainment, the media, the things that the programming from the television that tells lies to your vision type of stuff, you know, all of that combined, it takes a lot for us to, like I said, the real courage, you know, it takes real courage to disconnect from the matrix and, you know, recognize the truth from the lies, you know, and do the real work to, be different, be better, to experience and have, better type of stuff. That it's not easy. I remember I was in a leadership training years ago, and that's when I was introduced to Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. Now, I had already known about Rich Dad Poor Dad for years at that time, and read it and the audiobook and all that a couple times. But, he gave the background story, and he had a dynamic. There's a what was he? He wasn't Spanish. What was I don't even remember his name. I could see his face though. I think he might have been something Asian. He was in the Asian family or whatever, but he had a powerful team, and he provided them with, the real tools. It was like whatever books he recommended, I'm writing them down. And Outwitting the Devil was one of them, the main one. And I studied that book a lot after that. But I don't even remember my point of even going there. Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill. I don't know. Taking control of the things that you can take control of in your life to improve it, I guess. I don't know. All right, we have number 19 with Shane here. Okay. So with that being next to Seven Sisters, um, that's funny. When I was preparing my morning beverage, my coffee this morning, I got a phone call that I needed to manage before sitting down to do this, some business. And it made me think about, when I was 21 and how I had this job for or a job interview for a collection agency. Like I was trying to be a collector or whatever. And I had already tried different jobs and went on different interviews and, sent my resume to a lot of different places. And I was getting told stuff like I was overqualified. Um, because I was coming from Delaware and I had made a lot of money at the last job that I was at in Delaware. Um, and they were looking at that and saying that basically I wouldn't want to work there because in Georgia they didn't pay as much type of stuff. So that's when I ended up, at the bottom of my list having Strokers nightclub, their newspaper article in the newspaper where I got all them other jobs from that I sent my resume to and had interviews for, that no experience was required. So when I went on this interview at the collection agency, the manager or the man, was basically saying that he didn't think that I knew how to collect money and I'd be qualified. He was telling me like all the women that were there pretty much, had kids, they had backgrounds in, adult entertainment and all this type of stuff. And he said, I came in here with this cute little buttoned up blouse and some flat shoes. I ain't even put no heels on. This is how this man was talking to me. And I got discouraged. I was like, what the hell? Like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Is this real? So, and mind you, I had clothes because when I moved there, I had applied for a flight attendant job. So my wardrobe was in support of becoming a flight attendant, after I finished training. But that was when the recession hit and, you know, that opportunity went out the window, when the company started merging and they had to downsize and stuff like that. So I left in them same little baby doll shoes with my dress pants and blouse looking cute and went to Strokers after I left that interview and got hired on the spot. I didn't have to even do a audition or nothing. I remember the white guy. What was his name? I forgot his name. The one that hired me, but it was another young lady there, the same time that was just finishing doing an audition, and we met. We started at the same time. We only worked together for a couple weeks, but I didn't have to do an audition. I came in there in business casual clothes, and he said you could start as soon as you get your permit, your dancer's permit. So that was like a couple $100. Um, and I had to go get some, shoes and clothes, and I knew how to dance. It was just a matter of, dancing like that. So that's how that went. But what I'm getting here is with the shame here. If you look here, and with the seven sisters, you know, being in that world of things, I met a lot of sisters. I worked with them, got to know their, background, their stories, and how they got there. And, it really teaches you not to judge people because you just don't know when, you know, your life will take you down a certain path potentially, and who you'll meet, type of stuff, and what you'll learn. Like, I literally met women who by day were like attorneys and lawyers and real estate agents and like nurses or doctors, or pursuing those, lanes in education wise, that had children and all type of stuff, that when you would see them in a like a regular picture, where you wouldn't even know that at night they was dancing to pay for, that stuff, that lifestyle that they had, very nice cars and homes, kids taken care of, from as much as I could see, of course, type of stuff. So, you know, when it comes to people who aren't familiar with certain industries and certain lifestyles, it's easy for them to pass judgment, and people be ashamed of, what they've come from, their life experiences. And it's unfortunate, but that's where this message here, it keeps coming up, for us to know who we are, and to be able to communicate and articulate to people, like, look, whether you have my best interests at heart or not at this point, you know, this is who I am, and you're gonna respect it, or we don't need to be having no type of communication ties, whatever, however, okay, because you're not gonna make me feel bad, shameful, you know, the great, none of that type of stuff. Like, we ain't doing that. I've never gotten this card before, and it's very interesting. Okay, very interesting. It's Medusa Rage number 23, and we have 23 out here twice. What else was 23? The Truth. So we got repeats. We got 12, 12, and we got 23, 23 here. Okay. I haven't gotten this card before ever. Medusa. I didn't even know this was in this deck. That's very interesting. We got 23 the other day, and I said Jordan when I was reading, our Eid Mubarak reading. I mentioned Jordan, and then I logged off, went on about my day, and seen my girl Kayla posted a little soul session type of post, mini reading, and she literally had she had a necklace with an ankh on it, and I don't know if it was a shirt. I think it might have been a shirt where the Jordan symbol was right there next to it. I said, damn. Like, that was just the universe be speaking to me like that. Okay, that's why people can't just be telling me anything these days, because I'm like, you don't even know what God be showing me, and my spirit guides, how they communicate with me. Like, you just don't even know, because I don't even share half a quarter of the stuff that I see. But with this Medusa rage energy here, 23 sums to 5. So there's that's change, and I'm getting environmental changes as well. So with that being that fire and water, and I seen earlier I was talking about Mother Nature, in somewhere like Hawaii, that they had the, you know, extreme flooding along with the fires a couple years ago. We had something similar with California here not too long ago. Um, being that she has the moons, the different moon cycles around her crown, The snake around her waist that, damn, she got a couple snakes in this picture. There's like three different snakes here. I'm scared of her. Yep, snake right here, and right here. So she like, yo, stop playing with me with inner strength and abundance. This energy, this African goddess rising energy is an energy that is recognizing their personal power. Okay. They have been working hard to restore their inner strength, and they're not going for no foolishness, no craziness. Like that's how I was. I told when I walked in my mom's house from work on Saturday, my uncle was there and asked me to um, do something for him or whatever. And, we were sitting around watching TV for a little bit, chilling. And I was just like telling her about how I was fed up. There was an episode on that Tyler Perry series called Beauty in Black or Black something, whatever the name of that series is. But there was an episode called Fed Up. I was like, yeah, that's about where I'm at right now. And the alignment in the center of this, is interesting. It's interesting. Like, this is why they don't want us to be aware of how powerful we truly are, because everyone isn't going to have the emotional intelligence and the strength, the mental strength, the integrity and all that to manage, manage this energy responsibly. So I get it. I get it. All right. We have joy with Asaseya, number 16. Okay. So with dreams and relationships, someone has a desire to um, create new life, to nurture something. Okay. So whether this is depending on, where how old you are and where you are in your life and what your body is capable of doing and producing. Um, Someone is potentially either wanting to have a child, have another child, um, or they're getting dreams. Wow, that's interesting. Look at how this one is right underneath this. Look at how that light is coming down in her crown, from the dreams. She's having dreams of a relationship that is going to bring her joy and potentially a child. So that gives me like spirit child, especially with the soul healing right next to it. A child is ready to be born. We got, we literally got rage and joy in the center. So what I'm getting here is there's some sort of crossroad energy where someone like that has been having their life potentially manipulated or influenced, you know, impacted by things that have been out of their control. They're regaining their strength mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And they're saying enough is enough. They're working hard, practicing integrity and, regaining their financial stability with abundance here. And they like, yo, if anybody else come trying to block me, stop me, all hell gonna break loose because I ain't messing with nobody and I'm just trying to, live a peaceful, joyful life, minding my business. That's what this energy is saying. Damn. We got Katisha with Sacred Lust, and this was with Envy. So there may have been some sort of Jezebel type of energy, and Jezebel ain't just necessarily just a hoe, trying to sleep with your man. That energy is also somebody trying to, distract you and keep you from your purpose, drain your energy, with attention type of stuff. Look at this energy. Like, this is somebody that's like pressed for attention and, you know, if you're not mentally, emotionally, and strong enough in your personal power, it's easily for you to fall into that trap, that illusion. So this could be, what's that movie, that Beyonce movie where I think Idris Elba, I just saw that in my mind where it was like the broad, she wanted her husband and her child, like her life type of femme fatale type of stuff. I'm getting that with that Jezebel energy with Envy also. So to protect, your relationships, your family, divine feminine is going to be important because clearly with this type of energy and power, you're not just anybody. I kept hearing that from Drake this morning. You got to watch it. I got to watch my back. I'm not just anybody. Like, I felt that was like one of his classic lines in a song that has always resonated with me since the first time I heard it. Divine feminine, divine masculine, both of you individually and collectively need to watch your back because you're not just anybody. And you got female and male, Jezebels that will want to suck you dry in your abundant energy if you allow them. And yeah, everybody looking for a come up or something like that. And you ain't the one or the two. Let's get one more for listening and surrender. Look at that. Just like that. I just said that the one or the two. I know what I be talking about, honey. Okay. Cosmic power, divine masculine, divine feminine, the sun and the moon, just like that came together. Okay. They just like that. This type of powerful energy, of course, everybody wants to be attached to it. It's so attractive. It's so healing. It's so divine. It's so, pure. It's so healthy. It's so amazing, attractive. Look how they protecting one another in their energy stance. Like, yeah. So of course Jezebel, want a piece of that. She probably want divine masculine and divine feminine. Okay. That is absurd. We got surrender here twice. These damn, look at that. A set surrender on the bottom of the deck. And that's number 44. But even more so, I said I saw the movie. I can't think of the name right now, but it's with Beyonce. She had a baby. She was married to Idris Elba, and the Caucasian girl came in and was trying to, take her man type of thing. And she was like out of pocket, way out of pocket. So I'm getting here too with sacred lust and that Jezebel energy that it's two women out here breastfeeding children. And this energy is also standing on a lion here too. Somebody wants your place. Somebody wants your whole life, your whole destiny. They want to swap destinies with you, is what I'm hearing. So there may have been some illusions created around you and your energy that could have been, very distracting, very draining, very just toxic. But we got divine lineage under here where, your guardian angels and your angels, as long as you are receptive to their offerings, their blessings, the energy that, they have for you, there's definitely space and opportunity for healing and purification, to restore. Yeah, we got intuition here, number 35, another 8, you know, where you are royal and your divine lineage, is most definitely protected. It's protected. You got radical rebirth here. Okay. Yeah. You the ish. They know it. They mad. And they'll be all right. All right. I'm like, Dad, do I even need to go on the tarot today? We got the Hermit with the Five of Pentacles. Let's do a quick tarot. The Hermit with the Five of Pentacles. Okay. Doing the inner work to come out of, poverty energy, poverty mindset, remembering who you are, your greatness. Protecting that, which requires protecting yourself, mind, body, and spirit, mind, body, and soul, whatever resonates with you. I'm seeing a lot of crescent moon energy here too. You got the Three of Pentacles here. So with some sort of collaboration or partnership, some contractual agreements, some union energy merging taking place, that is going to assist in this abundance. So what that means is, where divine masculine, divine feminine, if they have not yet come into union, the union itself is going to instantly propel them into, a damn, how do I articulate that? Like, how do I articulate that vision that it just came to mind? It's like to another dimension, just bring it down to earth, another, class, tax bracket, um, collectively, because like individually, they might be, cool, all right, they ain't hurting like that for real, you know. Even if things may be financially challenging, you know, it ain't like that's just who they are. They not no real brokey because they don't carry no broke energy. Okay. And they know how to make some things happen to change their situation, you know, as quickly as they need to. So, but, and that's individually. So I'm hearing collectively together, a union as one. They can be a little dangerous with this rage energy. Okay, that their power, not them themselves being dangerous, but the power that they possess. I don't like how that sounds. The power that they've been blessed with by the divine, from their divine lineage. Okay, reloaded. um, I can't believe I'll be doing these long readings these days. I guess just because I'd be having, a little bit of time, and it's what the energy is, giving up. The energy is like, read me, put it on the table, get the clarity and the answers. We got the magician with the four of swords here. Okay. So yeah, this is a energy, some very powerful energy that knows they are fully equipped. Like they have all the tools to do whatever it is they have a desire to do. Okay. Whatever they want to manifest, they can do that. As long as they are taking care of one of their most powerful tools, which is their mind via rest. Okay. The swords is mental mind energy. So quality of rest with dreams. Um, I'm seeing a lot of church energy here between these pinnacles and swords. So like stained windows, glass windows, like you would see in a church. Um, this kind of looks like a cathedral a little bit, or what's that thing where you get married in Vegas type of thing? Um, a chapel. Um, and then you got, in this four swords here, another stained glass window here. So someone's recognizing that, as they rest and recuperate their energy, they are getting visions, ideas, creative, their creative life force energy is being restored. That rest is making them look better, which is subsequently helping them to feel better, you know, and think better. Like their critical thinking abilities are improving, like they're sharpening. They're able to come up with, you know, solutions and ideas a lot quicker. So they're able to utilize all the tools that the divine has blessed them with to make things happen respectfully and responsibly as a limitless, abundant being. Okay. As a goat with this 2323 energy, as someone who operates in truth and light, okay? As someone who knows how to use their wand, their pentacles, their cup, which is their emotions, and their swords, which is their mind, you know, to manifest stability, grounded, practical opportunities that the King of Pentacles, could be a boss, it could be someone's manager or um, somebody's daddy, like somebody that is responsible for others. He builds empires potentially with this magician energy here. And he has a lot of fans. groupies with this sacred lust energy, Jezebel energy next to him. Definitely got some groupies. I want a piece of the King of Pentacles. That's what they be saying, whether they say it out loud or not. So it's important for the King of Pentacles to stay grounded and remember, the truth of who he is and, who God is and how God provides for him, so that he doesn't get distracted and end up losing everything that he worked so hard to acquire, to earn, etc. We got the strength here again. Where did I see this earlier? This is divine masculine and divine feminine here, both crowned by the infinity symbol. Their background, their skies are bright and yellow. Okay. I'm getting Ra energy, the sun, they're very confident. They are high level creative producers that are protected by the Most High God, the angels, their ancestors. Damn, I'm even hearing high level beings like ETs and aliens. Why am I getting like Anunnaki? What in the world? With this infinity symbol crown, and then they came out like this together with that lion energy. Yeah, they need all that type of protection, you know, from these types of energies. This is somebody that is also very powerful, but they don't necessarily use their power for good. Okay, with envy and lust. That they work for the adversary with adversity. They work for the adversary, the devil, to destroy, anything good. So they can easily be paid. Okay. They coming for them pinnacles. They can be paid and bought, to come in and destroy, something good if it's not properly protected. Something real if it's not properly protected. And that's why covenants are more important and more valuable than the contracts themselves. Okay. The covenant versus the contract. All right. Beautiful. And we're going to drop this off right here. Yesterday, we ended it with the Emperor coming out, and now we have the Empress here with the Six of Cups. So this is some sort of, not some sort of divine masculine, decide and like, look, baby, I'm sorry. Whatever I need to be sorry for, this is my sorry for 2004, and I ain't gonna mess up no more this shit. Who that? Ruben stuttered. Me and my client was just talking about that the other day. The melanated folks that won American Idol in their careers, but the Six of Cups here with the soul healing. This is someone forgiving, probably divine feminine, forgiving everybody who she needs to forgive, whether that be divine masculine, um, whether that be, you know, some groupies, some Jezebels, Now she ain't saying she about to be friends with them or nothing like that, but the forgiveness work is because she's an empress and she know that, she been knowing that, and she need to keep her heart as light as a feather, so that she can, keep being the beautiful, um, powerful, graceful, loving, abundant, resourceful, healing and nurturing, sitting on her throne energy that God created her to be. She can't take care of her divine masculine and their empire, you know, with no bitter, broken, unproductive type energy. She know better. Hey, with the 3 of Cups on the bottom of the deck, it's a celebration. Okay, 3 and 3 is 33. All right, with the Queen of Cups, come on now, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Yeah, somebody like they done did the healing, and they was like, I ain't going back. I ain't going back to the confusion, the chaos, the drama. I know my self-worth. If nobody else knows, me and God know. So, you know, come correct or get up out my space, my face, my place. Yeah. With this King of Pentacles next to the 6 of Cups and the Empress, there may be um some sort of gift that is coming through. Damn. I heard promise ring, but I also heard like engagement ring or wedding ring, depending on where you are in your journey. And for some people, it won't be a ring. It could be, something else. It's going to be something tangible, but it's something that is um, a gift that is being shared with love, from like a gift to say, this is to show you how much I love you. This is, something that I want you to have because I love you and I don't want to lose you type of thing. That's sweet. Definitely reconciliation. Let's close out with the Angels of Abundance. I was tempted to do the Hidden Truth Oracle, but I feel like that came all the way through me, with truth being the first card to come out. Okay. Um, this is a beautiful spread. Definitely twin flame soulmate energy. Okay. With the relationships and divine masculine and divine feminine have done the hermit, retreat and recuperating their energy work where they're able to easily identify the who's and the what's. Like people aren't able to hide behind mask and material things and anything superficial. Like you can pick up on their energy immediately to recognize if this is someone or these people have your best interests at heart. They've developed that skill and ability for sure. We have face your financial fears. When you are honest with yourself about fears of success or failure, they can no longer control you. Be free of hidden fears by exposing them to the light of awareness, and you'll realize that you, in fact, have nothing to fear, and that every successful person has struggled with and released these self doubts. Okay. So that most definitely goes here with this Five of Pentacles energy. Um, and when I was stating earlier how sometimes the differences or the opposites could be, tax brackets or, somebody from this side of the tracks, when it comes to, let's say somebody's from the hood, somebody's from the suburbs, those types of, differences. But they love each other. So with facing your financial fears in this instance is people understanding that you can start from the bottom, now you're here. Like when it comes to success or failure, it's more of a mindset and you know self-determination, self-confidence, willpower, motivation, strength, inspiration. Like that's in you, and success is what you really want, you're going to get that eventually. Okay. As long as you're doing the work. And definitely if you're doing the work, with the mindset of practicing integrity and so forth. We got take a divinely guided chance. All positive change and successful ventures involve a degree of risk, and you are ready to follow your divine guidance to new territories as you leave behind that which is comfortable and familiar but no longer appropriate for you. You make room for new and more meaningful opportunities. Is this not where I started out earlier? Is that not what I said when I started this reading earlier? And that one matches this Medusa Rage card with abundance. So, and visualization with courage. So the divine, take a divinely guided chance is showing you that you have most definitely outgrown, your environment, an opportunity, a relationship, or a connection, and it's time to bust a move respectfully and responsibly. Otherwise, you're gonna start, you know, potentially causing some natural disasters. Visualize abundance in all forms. God gave you such great spiritual power that everything you visualize eventually becomes reality. Hold a steady vision of that which is beautiful, healthful, positive, and filled with blessings, and that is what you will experience. Yeah, so yeah, that came out under visualize also with abundance. You got to see it, believe it, and then you can achieve it. We got visualize, visualize, abundance, abundance in all forms. Yeah, them blockages, man. People got to stop playing with people's life because you just don't know, you know, when you're playing with the divine, how that can show up. We got savings here. As you consistently save for your future is saved. Do you do your future self a big favor as you consistently set aside present funds. This is a part of your self-care and path to feeling secure as you focus upon your life purpose. We had life purpose come out again yesterday, and we talked about, people that are more in the spiritual leaders and, just leadership roles, how they will be provided for abundantly from, whether it's a congregation, from their network, from, just their supporters. And with this is making sure that we are being a good steward of our resources with savings. Okay, so that don't mean necessarily get a traditional savings account in a bank and put all your money in there. That could be investing in like mutual funds and things like trusts and commodities and real estate, land, things that to me those are ways of saving, saving your future, saving um your like to me, I think I probably got this from my grandfather too. When it comes to saving versus investing, you know, having my resources, put into something where there's going to be a good return on it, long term, makes more sense to me than just having to just sit there, unless I just got that much just to let it sit, I ain't there yet. So I'd rather, make sure that my resources are generating more, okay, type of stuff. So whether that be policies like, life insurance to protect your assets, to protect your family, to protect your income, to protect your life period. I've been here recently learning more and studying in that realm of things, so that I'm able to provide that level of protection, not only for myself, my loved ones, but, other people that I will be connecting with in business in that degree as clients and so forth. Um, but like I said, like IRAs and investment accounts and stuff like that, you know, that's savings too. Okay. So as you consistently save for your future is saved. You do your future self a big favor as you consistently set aside present funds. This is a part of your self-care and path to feeling secure as you focus upon your life purpose. When life happens, things happen that are out of your control that you didn't plan for, but it happens. When you have what you need to be able to take care of your business, it's a lot less stressful, you know, when you can do that, okay? And we have organized for success. Do not let the word organize intimidate you, as it is simply a way for you to ensure clarity of purpose. Organizing your thoughts, your reports, your living and workspace, and your finances will help you know and plan your next action steps. Okay, so that reminds me I need to update my QuickBooks, itemize my receipts and expenses, update my chart, you know, with the income versus expenses and stuff. All right, and we're gonna end this with do the work. Okay. It's not enough to dream or pray. You've also got to take the positive action steps that you are being divinely guided to take. We got divinely guided twice here. We'll take a divinely guided chance. I'm gonna repeat that. You've also got to take the positive action steps that are being divinely guided to take. Consistently working on your priorities will make them flourish like a lush flower garden. And that is actually crowning the King of Pentacles with the Empress. And in closing, we have no more complaining. Okay. I had one of my old homegirls teach me the importance of not complaining, a long time ago. So I like to be very mindful not to do that, because once I became aware of how, bad it sounded, I didn't want to do it no more. People can always have it worse than you. And when I realized that, I was just like, you're right. I don't like how you said it, but you're right. So no more complaining if that's you. Complaints are affirmations of victimhood, which is never true spiritually. Take back your God given power by affirming that you have an abundance of choices and freedom. With your increased confidence and assertiveness, watch these positive affirmations blossom into reality. All right, you got it. That ties the whole thing together with conscious consumer again. Okay, so be a good steward of, your blessings, because they coming, especially if you rocking with me like this, like this, like this. Okay. Okay. All right. So, like I said, if you rocking with me like this, you are appreciated. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend that could also, use this valuable guidance, insight, and support. And make sure you like, share, subscribe, you know, on the platforms that I'm on, also on the Empress Network at empressblack.com. This Aries energy definitely got me in my bag as far as like go, 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 get it done. All them creative ideas, don't forget about them. Get it, execute. That's what I mean in my bag, like it's time to make it all make sense respectfully and responsibly. And that's that. Let me go eat this delicious baked potato that I baked yesterday. Okay. With my kale, and trying to figure out, these avocados, because I do have a couple pieces of wheat bread. I'm make some avocado toast. But with that last avocado, I was looking up recipes of ways that you can use avocados outside of just like guacamole and um avocado toast, like how I've been using it. I'm experiment with that last one to see what I come up with. But yeah, you got any recipe or ideas? If you're an avocado eater, I like it. It's been good to me, for me, you know, as a source of the nutrients, for breakfast. It's been very fulfilling. But I think I'm gonna try it on a salad or something one day. But I'm about to eat because I didn't eat before I did this. I didn't want to delay it anymore. All right. Make sure you have a phenomenal day on purpose. And till next time, peace and love.